Our journey opens beneath Rome's colossal ancient arena. Its layered arches still define the city's skyline. Walking closer reveals the scale emperors once demanded. Crowds now replace spectators beneath those weathered tiers. Yet every broken opening preserves imperial ambition. Leaving the facade, the surrounding plaza stays crowded. The arena follows us along the ancient stones. Even today's queues retrace routes used for spectacle. Ahead, another Roman monument begins framing the route. While the Colosseum remains Rome's unmistakable starting point, its surviving shell still overwhelms every nearby building. Sunlight exposes repairs from many later centuries. Beside it, Imperial victory waits across the square. The two monuments still share one living crossroads. Up close, the arena's entrances become cavernous. These arches once moved thousands through the building. Today, visitors pass beneath the same immense walls. And the Arch of Constantine finally takes focus. Its reliefs celebrate conquest beside the Colosseum. Rome uniquely layers triumph and entertainment together here. Turning away, the old empire spreads beyond them. The path now overlooks Rome's excavated imperial center. Churches and columns rise beyond buried Roman streets. Modern railings border ruins once closed for centuries. Every step reveals another level beneath today's city. Entire forums survive below ordinary Roman traffic. Brick foundations trace halls, temples, and markets. Their broken rooms still map imperial administration. Rome's present literally stands above its ancient capital. A surviving colonnade restores part of that skyline. Then Trajan's column rises from the ruins. Its spiraling carvings turn warfare into stone narrative. The whole campaign climbs around one marble shaft. Below, fragments reveal the forum built around it. Crossing onward, ancient remains merge with modern streets. This daily coexistence feels distinctly Roman. Another excavation opens beneath churches and umbrella pines. Descending walls reveal rooms hidden by later Rome. Columns and arches reconstruct a vanished civic world. From above, the forum becomes an urban canyon. Temples once crowded this valley beneath Rome's hills. Their surviving bases still organize the shattered landscape. A church now watches over those pagan foundations. Long stone lines mark buildings erased above ground. Standing columns preserve the rhythm of lost porticos. Fallen pieces show how thoroughly Rome recycled itself. Yet the ruins remain readable from today's walkways. Love locks suddenly cover the modern railing. Even romance attaches itself above imperial history. Then Bougainvillea introduces another ancient facade. Hadrian's temple columns still command Piazza di Pietra. Later buildings simply absorb them into daily life. Leaving the square, color returns through street commerce. A fruit stall glows beside the old stones. Mountains of produce become another Roman spectacle. Palms and peaches brighten this neighborhood corner. Fresh displays turn the pavement into an open market. Everyday abundance now replaces the empire's grandeur. Rome's monuments and groceries share the same streets. From here, the journey enters intimate dining alleys. Citrus barrels welcome visitors into another tiny passage. Pedestrians squeeze through streets built before cars. Tables occupy nearly every remaining strip of cobblestone. Dining here turns the alley into a room. Crowds flow between waiters, menus, and doorways. Souvenirs appear wherever the restaurant lanes briefly narrow. Another turn reveals diners seated wall to wall. Rome's historic center lives through this outdoor rhythm. Even the smallest corner becomes a social stage. A flowered trattoria draws us deeper inside. Greenery softens facades worn by centuries. Beside it, citrus again marks neighborhood hospitality. The next lane is almost entirely restaurant seating. Waiters navigate cobbles while lunch continues around them. Quieter tables wait where sunlight reaches the stones. A couple claims one secluded outdoor table. Then foot traffic fills the narrow passage again. The alley opens toward another sunlit square. Rome constantly shifts between intimacy and sudden grandeur. Here, the neighborhood spills into a broader piazza. Shaded streets guide us back toward Hadrian's temple. The columns emerge gradually across the open square. Ancient stone now borders colorful apartment facades. This piazza compresses Rome's eras into one view. The temple wall rises directly from modern pavement. Crowds gather beneath columns carved 19 centuries ago. Their height still dominates every surrounding building. Cafes make the ancient colonnade feel continuously inhabited. Bougainvillea then transforms one corner into vivid color. Even monumental Rome leaves space for simple beauty. Small tables keep the square relaxed and lived in. Bicycles rest beside another shaded cafe entrance. Each doorway extends the piazza's social life. Lunch continues under awnings beside ancient masonry. Menus and flowers compete for every visitor's attention. Diners linger while the city moves around them. A small truck cart slips past Hadrian's columns. Modern traffic again threads through ancient architecture. Then the route opens into a sweeping square. Colorful sidecars gather beneath Piazza della Repubblica's curves. These compactor turn transport into street theater. Bright bodies wait like toys across the cobbles. Riders prepare where Rome's grand avenues begin. Soon, the sidecars sweep around the circular piazza. Back inside, flowers border another quiet restaurant lane. Their bright petals soften dark stone and iron. With traffic gone, the cobbles feel almost private. Yet cafes still line both sides of the street. A shaded courtyard offers another pause from crowds. Tiny cars remain perfectly suited to these passages. Even parked vehicles share space with lunch tables. The lane keeps narrowing around outdoor diners. A yellow truck car squeezes through stacked crates. Seconds later, flowers reclaim the cobblestone route. One storefront disappears beneath cascading blooms. Food and drinks crowd a tiny display table. Pizza, flowers, and souvenirs merge into one facade. Menu boards pull travelers toward another casual stop. Aperol and pizza advertise Rome's easy pleasures. A classic red Mini adds vintage character. Its tiny frame fits these medieval streets perfectly. But beauty also attracts familiar tourist traps. A street game crowd forms beneath a scam warning. Beyond it, another lively square resets the mood. A decorated scooter becomes rolling Roman folk art. Painted details turn ordinary transport into personality. Pedestrians cross freely through the sunlit piazza. Buses, taxis, and carts share the cobbles. This constant improvisation keeps Rome's center moving. Ahead, ancient brick begins replacing painted facades. A quiet lane now curves beside massive Roman masonry. The Pantheon's hidden rotunda slowly comes into view. Its circular wall appears almost fortress-like from behind. This rear side reveals the monument's true scale. Ancient brickwork rises above today's surrounding streets. Centuries of repairs remain visible across the surface. Looking upward, the rotunda overwhelms the narrow lane. Rome's greatest dome rests beyond these scarred walls. A vast brick arch opens through the structure. Ancient engineering survives here without becoming a museum. Close stonework exposes holes left by vanished fittings. Visitors pass beneath an opening built millennia ago. Others rest along the wall while waiting nearby. Modern crowds still gather against this ancient shell. A surviving column remains embedded in the brickwork. Its carved capital interrupts the rough Roman wall. Beside it, another arch reveals layered construction. The rotunda's thickness becomes unmistakable at street level. Even from behind, the Pantheon feels impossibly complete. A walk ends where ancient Rome still functions. Rome begins where ancient brickwork meets everyday streets. Tour groups gather beside walls older than nations. The route slips through a narrow ochre passage. Modern shops now press against Imperial masonry. Then the Pantheon's massive rotunda curves into view. Crowds circle its scarred brick exterior in sunlight. Every step reveals another surviving layer of Rome. Apartment facades stand almost touching the ancient drum. We follow the curve toward the temple's entrance. The street narrows as marble columns appear ahead. Now the portico emerges beyond scooters and pedestrians. Ancient columns rise directly from the modern roadside. The temple's side wall still carries centuries of wear. Turning the corner finally reveals its monumental front. Agrippa's inscription crowns the perfectly ordered portico. The Pantheon remains astonishingly complete after 2 millennia. Outside, an Egyptian obelisk anchors the crowded piazza. Weathered apartments frame this unmatched ancient centerpiece. Cafes continue serving beside Rome's most enduring monument. Daily life unfolds without separating present from antiquity. Even the surrounding facades preserve centuries of occupation. The fountain reconnects obelisk, piazza, and temple. Visitors stream around a scene found only here. Gale idol stands thrive beneath the Pantheon's solemn columns. The crowd turns ancient history into living public space. A fresh cone becomes part of the Roman ritual. Nearby, a Nazan fountain serves locals and animals. One thirsty dog drinks straight from its spout. Rome's free-flowing fountains still welcome every passerby. Leaving the piazza, the walk returns to traffic. A distant campanile now draws us down the avenue. Cars and pedestrians funnel toward the rising tower. The landmark keeps appearing between dense urban facades. Street signs and storefronts frame the approaching Basilica. Rome hides monumental churches behind ordinary commercial streets. The bell tower grows clearer with every block. Soon a tall column joins the skyline ahead. The avenue opens toward a broad ceremonial square. Tower column and palace facades finally align. We reach the edge of Santa Maria Maggiore. Outdoor tables overlook one of Rome's papal basilicas. Across traffic, its ancient campanile dominates the square. The approach reveals a grand loggia beneath it. Calf umbrellas briefly frame the monumental facade. Then the basilica opens fully across the piazza. Its layered exterior joins medieval tower and baroque front. A crown column rises separately within the traffic. Surrounding palaces complete this distinctly Roman urban stage. Cars circle monuments treated as everyday infrastructure. Even scooters weave through the basilica's ceremonial foreground. The column and tower remain visible across the square. Dining terraces face sacred architecture without any barrier. We move closer as the facade fills everything. Statues, balconies, and columns sharpen into view. The open piazza keeps worship and city life together. Santa Maria Maggiore now commands the entire horizon. Closer still, its loggia displays Rome's layered history. Visitors cross beneath saints arranged above the entrance. The portico's marble details emerge over the waiting crowd. Upward, ceremonial banners soften the monumental stone. The facade's columns lead directly toward the interior. One final glance catches tower, loggia, and saints. Inside, the high altar glows beneath golden mosaics. Stairs descend toward the basilica's sacred confessio. A kneeling papal statue faces the shrine below. Pilgrims circulate around marble rails and sculpture. The Pope's upward gaze connects tomb and altar. Here devotion becomes architecture beneath the main sanctuary. The statue remains surrounded by constant human movement. Its white marble stands against richly colored walls. Visitors pause beside this intimate papal memorial. Nearby, flowers frame a shining silver reliquary. Then the vast nave stretches beneath gilded coffers. Ancient columns preserve the basilica's early Christian rhythm. Worshippers and tourists share the same central aisle. Looking upward reveals mosaics, paintings, and golden geometry. The journey continues into a quieter side aisle. Wooden confessionals remain active beside monumental marble columns. Side passages reveal how worship still shapes the building. Clergy and families move through the same sacred space. The aisle continues beneath an elaborately patterned vault. A gated chapel suddenly centers attention on Christ. Inside, the crucifix turns sightseeing toward devotion. Another darkened doorway guards a more private chamber. Returning outside, the brighter colonnade resumes ahead. A second chapel appears beyond the marble piers. Visitors gather where sacred art fills every surface. The doorway compresses crowds into a narrow threshold. Nearby inscriptions preserve another chapter of Basilica history. Beyond them, colored marble creates a theatrical sanctuary. The chapel opens into an even richer interior. A circular enclosure marks another memorial below. Warm light draws the eye toward carved reliefs. Stone, bronze, and painting merge around the shrine. An iron screen protects the chapel beyond. Through it, a gilded altar becomes visible. The golden centerpiece dominates the surrounding marble walls. Sculptures and paintings crowd every available surface. One monument gathers worship, power, and memory together. Side walls continue the story through tombs and plaques. A gilded angel lamp stands beside wooden benches. Reserved red chairs await clergy and ceremony. Plain seating keeps worship central amid princely decoration. Turning back reveals the sanctuary from another angle. The walls rise into layered marble and sculpture. Above, the painted dome opens like another heaven. Windows ring the cupola with clear daylight. Frescoed architecture dissolves the chapel's heavy boundaries. The view descends again toward the radiant altar. Visitors remain small beneath this immense decorative program. Along one wall, an illuminated glass tomb appears. People stop quietly before the recumbent papal figure. The illuminated tomb rests beneath gold and inscription. This intimate relic contrasts with the chapel's grandeur. A tablet above identifies the honored pontiff. One last close view fixes devotion into memory. Near the exit, a priest meets waiting visitors. Queues form where pilgrimage and tourism overlap again. Outside, rough brick replaces every gilded interior surface. A basilica occupies the ancient Baths of Diocletian. Its doors pierce masonry from the Imperial baths. The surrounding plaza reveals the complex's urban scale. Nearby ruins expose the bath's enormous surviving footprint. An archaeological courtyard gathers fragments beneath open sky. Broken columns now line a quiet garden path. Massive brick halls still define the vanished bathhouse. Marble blocks remain displayed beside living trees. Rome turns imperial ruins into an accessible public garden. Then modern traffic abruptly resumes beyond the museum. Grand facades continue along the busy commercial avenue. Pedestrians share the street with buses and taxis. A red city bus passes monumental stonework. Ordinary transit makes these palace-like blocks feel alive. Another bus threads between columns and crowded pavements. Signs and storefronts return us to everyday Rome. Yet historic architecture still controls the street's rhythm. Crowds continue beneath iron grills and carved stone. A quieter junction opens between the monumental blocks. A cross street reveals another monumental church facade. Its classical portico interrupts the continuous commercial blocks. Latin words stretch above a row of columns. Looking higher reveals the church's restrained upper facade. Crossing onward, the landmark recedes behind traffic. The route turns into another tightly layered street. Small cafes occupy corners beneath weathered ogre walls. Modern storefronts resume beside centuries-old masonry. An Italian banner marks the final urban passage. Then a hidden baroque courtyard opens unexpectedly. A closer view gathers columns, statues, and curves. Rome ends by revealing wonder behind another corner. A path of hope sign opens this Roman walk. From there, pilgrimage streets merge with everyday traffic. Even narrow sidewalks squeeze past monumental stone walls. Yet the old fabric never stops modern movement. Global shops sit naturally inside centuries-old facades. Their windows face crowds flowing through historic arteries. Boutiques continue beneath apartments colored by Roman sun. Pedestrians share slivers of pavement beside ancient blocks. Every corner comprises commerce, residents, and visitors. Soon, tiny cafe kiosks reclaim the crowded lane. Bougainvillea turns lunch terraces into vivid urban rooms. Red blossoms soften stone facades with unmistakable warmth. Tables spill outward, making sidewalks part of lunch. Cobblestones pull the journey deeper into old Rome. Here, family meals unfold directly beside passing crowds. Horse-drawn carriages preserve another distinctly Roman rhythm. Up close, their harnesses recall grandeur traditions. Then one carriage clears the way toward Trevi. Marble rocks announce the fountain before its full reveal. A final step brings Trevi into crowded view. Turquoise water flashes beneath colossal baroque sculpture. Suddenly, palace architecture and fountain become one theater. Visitors press closer, drawn by Trevi's impossible scale. The full facade rises like Rome's open-air stage. Every niche adds gods, horses, and carved motion. Below them, bright water gathers wishes from everywhere. Trevi's basin turns public space into shared ritual. No other city stages mythology this dramatically downtown. Even shifting reflections keep the marble composition alive. Closer views reveal water surging through sculpted cliffs. Above, columns and reliefs complete the palace illusion. The central figures command both fountain and square. At basin level, turquoise becomes Trevi's signature contrast. Crowds line every edge, repeating the return tradition. And one last glance seals Rome's greatest spectacle. Leaving Trevi, ochre facades restore a quieter scale. Bougainvillea climbs upward, brightening the enclosed street. Shaded trees briefly turn stone into a garden. Then a planted alley narrows into lived history. Terracotta walls and greenery frame the intimate passage. Ivy-covered corners hide tables behind dense potted plants. Small restaurants occupy spaces barely wider than footsteps. Even worn plaster becomes part of Rome's character. A tighter lane channels sunlight toward the next turn. Plants soften another bend without erasing its age. Quiet cobbles carry the route toward brighter streets. The alley finally opens into another neighborhood piazza. There, cafe umbrellas immediately fill the public square. Dining tables transform the piazza into communal living. Cars pass cautiously around Rome's improvised outdoor rooms. Yet conversation remains the square's real center. Pedestrians thread between lunch tables and historic facades. Every terrace keeps daily life visible and social. Menus, umbrellas, and cobbles complete the Roman ritual. From this bright piazza, another passage draws us inward. A monumental arcade suddenly replaces sunlight with grandeur. Marble patterns guide shoppers through its ceremonial hall. Above them, stained glass turns commerce into architecture. Historic detailing surrounds modern stores on every side. The long gallery feels more palace than shopping center. Then barriers reveal archaeology beneath the polished floor. An ancient mosaic interrupts the modern pedestrian route. Its preserved figures expose another layer under Rome. Here, excavation and everyday shopping literally share space. Visitors pause where buried art resurfaces underfoot. Beyond it, grand arches reopen the gallery's flow. Stained ceilings continue above rows of contemporary boutiques. Locals and tourists mingle beneath monumental proportions. The arcade stretches forward like an indoor boulevard. Luxury windows recede behind columns and patterned marble. At the exit, daylight pulls everyone outdoors again. The portico frames a modern square through ancient scale. Outside, colonnades shelter pedestrians from the fierce sun. Looking back, giant columns make shopping feel ceremonial. Iron gates mark where arcade meets city street. Then buses and cars reclaim Rome's civic boulevard. But barriers reveal a motorsport course beside antiquity. Crowds wait as engines challenge the historic setting. A drift car approaches the corner beneath monumental stone. Seconds later, tire smoke swallows the entire view. The haze thins, leaving fresh circles on asphalt. Silence returns briefly around the ancient urban backdrop. Black skid marks redraw the square's temporary purpose. Yet the monumental setting still dominates the spectacle. Another run builds tension along the empty curve. The car erupts again, disappearing inside white smoke. Rome closes by colliding timeless stone with speed.